Price discrimination under monopoly. This is a continuation of the chapter presentation on monopoly, because the monopolist is a very powerful firm, because he has got power over the price or over the output that he sells in the market. So how does he behave like that, and what is the outcome of that behavior is what we shall study under this topic, price discrimination under monopoly. Now, let's look at price discrimination here. It exists when the same product is sold at different prices to different buyers. Have we not experienced this in our own day-to-day life, where the same product is sold at different prices to different buyers? Yes, we have. And the cost of production of the commodity may be the same or maybe slightly different, but definitely the monopolist is in a position to charge different prices from different people. And the products may have very slight differences, for example, in packaging or labeling or location. The example that comes to my mind is that of plane tickets in an aeroplane. So the location of the seat makes the price of the ticket different. It could be the availability of a particular fashion garment at a time, and then the same fashion garment is sold at a lower price after some time. Any of these things are possible in the case of a monopolist. So you can see that it can be based on the preferences of the buyer. In the case of fashion garments that I just told you, the buyer who is very conscious of fashion may like to buy it in the beginning of the release of the design, and therefore is willing to pay very high prices. And once the period is over, the seller may sell the same product in the market for a lower income group at a lower price. And the income, the location, or the availability of substitutes, or rather close substitutes, not perfect substitutes are not available, but close substitutes. Thus, different demand curves for different degrees of price discrimination, different elasticities in different segments of the market. So the market itself gets segmented: the high income group, the middle income group, the educated group, the less educated group, people living in rural extensions, people living in the heart of the city, people living in high-rise building, people living in independent houses. All of these are possible, and based on these kind of things, the monopolist will charge different prices to different individual consumer. Now, let us see what permits this monopolist to practice this kind of a discriminatory behavior. It's very interesting to see how this happens and why does it happens. First of all, the different market segments must have different price elasticities. For example, a company which sells online grocery will have possibly different prices to people who are living in high income group flats or areas. Based on all these kind of information, we will find that the monopolist will behave differently as far as price fixation is concerned. And the first thing is, so there has to be different segments, and a monopolist will determine these different segments by experience, by research into the market. They will be able to do this kind of a difference. The second thing is that there has to be effective separation of this market, and it cannot be taken from a low income place to a high income place. For then by time, for example, we know that doctors, if they have to come on a home visit, they charge a different fee than the fee they may charge if you visit in the hospital, and if we visit them in a clinic, they will charge different. So the same doctor, the same services, possibly mild packaging or mild differences, but definitely the prices are very different when it comes to three different points at which we meet this for this service. So they have to be separated by physical distance. The product must be sold at places which are away from each other. Otherwise, it is possible that it will be purchased in one cheap locality and sold in the costly locality. So if that is possible, then price discrimination will not work. Consumers cannot purchase in a low price and sell it in a market which is more elastic. Then the whole purpose of price discrimination is lost. Now, there are different degrees of price discrimination, and we call them as the first degree, the second degree, and the third degree. There is a new concept here called consumers surplus, which means if a consumer is willing to pay 50 rupees and he actually lands up paying only 20 rupees in the market, so 50 minus 20, the 30 rupees is known as consumers surplus. The consumer enjoys that he has not paid 30 rupees extra. Now, this particular idea of consumer surplus is what a monopolist actually uses to practice price discrimination. In this particular case of first degree, the monopolist will negotiate with the price individually with each buyer, and the maximum price that is possible from each buyer is actually taken away by the monopolist. So here the demand curve is also the MR curve. Now the condition will be that you take it if you want it, otherwise you can leave it. So there is a threat to the buyer, and in such cases usually the buyer is willing to pay whatever price is asked by the monopolist, and he pays up that price. So the monopolist is able to capture the entire consumer surplus of this buyer, and that is the first degree of price discrimination. You can see the demand curve, and where the demand curve is the same as the MR curve. The marginal revenue that he gets from each seller is the same. There's only one seller on which he's practicing this. So what the monopolist will do now here is the rest is the shaded area. The shaded area is that small triangle on top, which the consumer is willing to pay the highest price, and he actually would pay the lower price. But in this case of a monopolist, what the monopolist would do is the monopolist will capture not only the price that is given at OP, but he will also take away the entire consumer surplus also from the consumer. So the triangle that is gone as the consumer surplus plus the price that is the price line, that both are taken away by the monopolist. That is called as sheer exploitation of the consumer, where the consumer has no choice but to buy it if he wants to take it, or otherwise leave it. This can happen in the case of medicines, high-end medicines which are necessary for life. So those kind of medicines can, if it is allowed, they can be using this kind of a discriminatory policy. That is the reason why some of these things come under the control of the government. We also have something called as second degree price discrimination. Here the monopolist, what he does is he negotiates with more than two different prices for different consumers. So each consumer can get a different price. For example, those who buy something in bulk gets it at a different price. Those who buy it at individual units will get it at a different price. So there can be different prices of the product depending upon the place or depending upon the quantity of the commodity that is purchased. Thus the monopolist, what he does is he collects the consumer surplus from all different kinds of consumers. Each consumer has got a different amount of consumer surplus, and here this monopolist, he will sell it at different prices to different sellers, just based on the negotiation that he might be doing. So you can see that at every point there is an extra rectangle that is possible. When he says he can sell the first unit at a very high price, then take that get that surplus. Then the second time he can sell it at a lower prices and take a larger surplus, and the third time. So it is possible that the monopolist will sell it at different prices to different individuals and take away the surplus. So the idea is that the monopolist wants to maximize his profit, the revenue that he collects by different prices. He wants to maximize it by selling it at different prices to the consumers. There is a third degree also, in which case what he does is he charges different prices from different consumers, from different groups of consumers. Everything is different. In the earlier one, there was negotiation with one or two types of bulk purchases and individual purchases. Here it is not only that, this is more common, where they charge different prices from all kinds of groups. So what the monopolist is trying to do is to take away the maximum revenue, the maximum price, the maximum surplus from all kinds of buyers, in which case he will be in a position to practice it indiscriminately. So, whichever is the whims and fancies of the monopolist, he can charge that kind of a price from the buyer. So, it is sold at OX price at P, then it will receive OX AP amount of revenue, then the consumers has a surplus of PAD, that is also taken away by the seller. Dumping is another extreme form or another form of discrimination, which is practiced not with the domestic market. Usually it is between the international market. Generally it is between the international market and the domestic market. What can happen is the same commodity is sold at a different price at the home market, and it's sold at a different price in the foreign market. Generally it is done to drive the competitors out of market. Now we have seen this when some countries have come and dumped their products to India, where the products are so cheap that the domestic buyers domestic producers don't even produce them. There are examples of many goods from China which has come in and it has dumped in the market at very cheap price, and consumers simply buy that. So they find a new market in such foreign countries by selling it at very low price. So dumping is to dispose. Sometimes it is to dispose of their accumulated stock. They have produced all of it and they are not able to sell it in their own home country. They may come and sell it in another country. Dumping usually drives off competitors, and they also do predatory pricing. That means the prices are so low that the domestic buyer, the domestic manufacturer cannot sell it at that price. In such a case, the rival farms, whoever were producing something of that kind, will completely dry out of market, because these imported goods will be much cheaper than what the domestic goods are. It can also be to reap the large scale benefits of production. So sometimes the monopolist firm may be producing it at a large scale and it can't sell all of that product in the same country. Then it reaches out to other market where it sells it at a very cheap price. So dumping and international trade charges lower prices in a foreign market and higher prices in the domestic market. Now, there are some things which are called as natural monopoly. When the market size is small relative to the plant size. In such cases, what happens is government intervenes by undertaking the operation or by regulating the price that private monopolist is allowed to charge. So, such cases, this will be to monitor the profit that the firm is making or to prevent exploitation by the consumers. It can be in the case of electricity. It can be, at one time it was in the case of transport. So where it is possible that the private in the case of private hospitals, that is why you know that private hospitals are expected to put a price list for their services somewhere where the patients can see. This is the reason. Otherwise they are likely to take away the entire consumer surplus of the patient who is in difficult time. So government can interfere, and government may provide the service itself, like government running a government hospital, or to prevent, when the market is small, so that doesn't get exploited, the government may run that business. So the government practice price discrimination in public utilities. Also, there are several kinds of prices it may do for industrial consumers, for home consumers, for rural areas, for farmers. The electricity charges can be different, and that is usually done by the government. Now, the problem with price discrimination is there is a very high element of discretion, and this discretion itself leads to corruption by the government. It can lead to misuse of the position of the firm by the monopolist. So there are practices that discrimination is allowed, and this discrimination leads to discretion. And much of the problems of monopoly is about discretive powers of the government. So generally, monopoly is not considered to be an effective production arrangement, because it is only interested in making profit, and at the same time it has the power to withdraw the entire consumer surplus of the consumer. So it can be very exploitative. And in India, we had earlier what was called as Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act. Way back in the 50s, this law was made just to prevent these monopoly firms from gaining so much control over the buyers and exploiting them. But after the globalization of 1991, that same MRTP was replaced by what is called as Competition Commission, which looks into predatory pricing, which looks into exploitative pricing. So that is an institution that has been created to keep a check on the monopoly price discrimination policies. In the USA, they are called as antitrust laws, again for the same thing, to have some control over these monopoly firms who can be very exploitative, and they can engage in only profit making for their interest, and society can can suffer because of these kind of actions of the monopolist. So after this lesson on monopolist, we shall look into monopolistic competition. I hope you're finding these lessons useful. Watch till the end. You cannot listen to these things in 2 or 3 minutes and try and understand monopoly or any of these topics. They require some time if you want to learn the lesson. Listen to it well, and then you can use your textbook, and the notes are available, so you have reference point when you read your textbook. So thank you very much.